That is 30 seconds of some of the craziest anxiety that I could ever develop. But welcome to Project Talk. I don't know where James went. Oh, there he is. Nice. Welcome to Project Talk on this big game Sunday. I didn't really realize because I'm not a sports guy, so I didn't really realize that today was the Sunday of the big game, and until I was out and about in public and there was nobody, like the streets were dead, and I went to Harbor Freight and it was empty, which was creepy, and then it dawned on me. So we probably won't have a huge turnout today, but it will be fine. The important people will be here, right? I am Glenn from Fun King 3D, and of course, with me, as always, is my brother from another mother, James from Print N Play.
I'm back in my old streaming location.
The old streaming location.
Well, I've spent a bunch of time cleaning earlier this week, and ultimately what I decided is the table over here where I used to stream from is going to be the printer repair section because I need to keep the other area clear for filming.
For filming, so, right.
I'm like, well, if I'm going to be working on projects and stuff, then this is probably the right place to talk from. See what I did there? If I'm going to work on projects, this is the right place to talk from.
Talking about projects.
Said the name of the show in the show.
Oh, it's like Inception. So running down, we got Nadav is here, and first, and second, and third, and fourth. Builder Mark is also here. Alan Osborne is here. HVAC A to Z Sergio is here. Local maker MI is here. Ollie is here. Scott McClellan is in. Tom Elrod. Clint is here. I have a feeling that most of our viewers are going to be from overseas.
The ones that aren't fans of the foosball?
Right, the people who don't watch the pigskin game. But
I thought those people just watched for the nip slips during the halftime show.
Does that happen?
I know it happened to was Janet Jackson, right?
Yeah, Janet Jackson like a million years ago.
And didn't it happen to like Madonna and or Miley Cyrus?
Yeah. Well, I think the Janet Jackson one was intentional, and they played.
It was Justin Timberlake, right, with her?
Yeah, and they played it off like it wasn't.
It's like he just happened to grab a handful of material and then like yank his hand away.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I went to Harbor Freight today to buy a welding table because I need one, and they've been out of stock forever. And all of a sudden they came back in stock. So I went over there, and they have these little pull tags that you have to take, and you take it up front to get it. So she calls the guy to go back in the back to check, and after like 10 minutes, she's like, "We don't have any." I'm like, "Well, that's not what your website says." "Well, we don't have any control over your or over our website." And I'm like, "No, but you have control over your inventory." And she's like, "Well, but it doesn't get updated." And I'm like, "Then somebody needs to update it." Like I'm like, yeah, I was being kind of a jerk, but I said to her, I said, "I know how the system works. I used to work here. Like, fix it." So I left there angry, but that store, ever since it changed store managers, it's gone progressively downhill. It's just getting worse and worse, and it's more like a flea market than it is a store at this point. So there's Glenn Hogue sliding in a little bit late, but that's all right. We're still happy to have you.
I got myself a big boy soldering iron.
A big boy soldering iron?
Yeah, I got this guy.
Oh, that's pretty fancy.
I haven't even unboxed it yet. Guess I could do that now.
Yeah, I can't do that. I can't get a new toy and not immediately.
Oh, this will kill you then. I've had this since before Christmas.
Shows how much soldering you do. There's Felipe coming in.
Okay, so I've had it before Christmas. It's been on a shelf, and I have had soldering stuff that's come up since then. But it's all been like, oh, I need to solder this wire, in behind this panel or whatever. So I just grab one of my like El Cheapo plug-in irons that doesn't have the base. But
well, I have an El Cheapo one that has a base, but it's not like, it's just a base that holds the iron, and then I have my Weller that's got the variable temperature.
Yeah.
And then I have just a plethora of between like old Radio Shack ones and a few off-brand ones and a couple of Wellers that just, I don't know. Like I keep one in every drawer of the house.
Like, so the thing is, I've been cleaning too, because I've been Oh, it
That
came
was
back.
weird.
Yeah. I've been surviving on it was the Source, but like what Radio Shack became in Canada. I've been surviving on the El Cheapo like $14 ones. And while I was cleaning, I found them everywhere. It's like, oh, here's a box that I brought to Murph back in 2018. Oh, there's a blue one in there. Oh, there's a red one in here. So, this one's going to stay set up on this desk though, so.
Yeah, I keep my good one over on my bench that's over there. What used to be the background of my filming area. Over here I have just a cheapy one that I plug in once in a while. And then I have a gun too. I have an old Craftsman soldering gun that I keep out in the garage for the bigger stuff.
I think I have a Weller gun somewhere that's got the spot where you can screw in the little light bulb.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
It's quite heavy. I think it was either I got it or my brother got it, but it was my grandfather's from like back in the 70s.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's like a little tiny incandescent bulb.
Oh yeah. That was my Craftsman was the first soldering. I was going to call it an iron, but it's really a soldering gun that I ever had.
Yeah.
And my parents gave it to me for Christmas when I was probably about Zach's age, actually. Oh, that's fancy. And so I was soldering with it, and one of the screws that holds the tip in, every time I'd pull the trigger, that screw would vibrate, Yeah. And so stupid 10-year-old me grabbed that screw to try to tighten it down.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a permanent Phillips screw mark in my finger. So
that's a less than fun time.
Yeah, never did that again. Glenn Hogue said that they got a Harbor Freight in town this month. I hope yours is better than mine. Again, our Harbor Freight used to be good. It's just really taken a bad turn. Yeah, the only problem with that is the wrong color. You should paint that blue black.
See, but now it's the perfect amalgamation of your colors and my colors.
Oh, that's true.
It's perfect for the See, this whole thing makes me laugh because all the advertising was talking about and I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong because I've never heard somebody say, I've just read it, the Haku, Hakko. Do you know how to?
Oh, no, I have no idea how to say it. No, I've only ever read it.
But they're marketed as being like a more professional piece of equipment. And
right.
Then I'm like, but then it's blue and yellow. Like it looks, they've picked sillier colors than some of the power tool companies pick nowadays.
Right. Yeah. It's like the color of toys.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm assuming that is all like temperature controlled and.
Yeah, it's got a digital temperature control. You just push the buttons. Although here's the interesting thing: it only has up. I don't know if it's going to focus or not, but you can see it there. It's only got
you have to run the temperature up and then it resets back down and you go up again, or maybe you turn it off and back on again.
Yeah, that's the question I'm asking myself, but I don't think I have anything to solder today, so I was just looking. I'm like, well, it's here. It's still in the box.
Like I'll order something for the garage, whether it's truck parts or a tool or whatever, and it doesn't matter if I'm going to use it right then or 2 days from now. When it gets here, I have to open it and
just look at it
and touch it. And I can't leave stuff in the box. That drives me crazy.
I released the video I was supposed to release on Tuesday today.
Oh, the one you were supposed to release last Tuesday?
Yeah.
Well, if all goes well, if all goes according to plan, this Friday's the day. Friday's the day for Fun King Garage.
Well, I hope it works out.
Me too.
So we got the sponge that you got to wet, and then it also came with the cleaning.
I use the Brillo pad stuff. And then I have a little container of tinning solution to retin the tip. Bob Karn says that he always heard it pronounced Heiko.
I don't think I've ever actually heard anybody say it out loud, so I'll just literally believe
let's
anything.
go with what Bob says, and it's from now on Heiko. I don't care if it's wrong or not.
Oh, look, and I can plug it into my Commodore 64.
Oh, perfect. Or into an old AT board.
Well, that was the whole unboxing.
Well, it was fun. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next. Oh,
same bat time, same bat channel.
Sorry,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I don't have a ton to work on today. That printer is still here. So it didn't do the full power down reset again, but during a print, it just suddenly reset itself, but never lost power. Like this time, the fans and everything kept running, just the board reset. And that was the problem he was originally having. So I'm thinking the board is shot.
Which could also explain the high amperage draw too.
Well, I'm talking about like I'm not talking about the print surface. I think the actual, like the main board on it is shot.
Yeah, but that could still explain the high amperage draw.
But we tested the bed independently of that, and it had remember it had a low resistance.
Yeah. I don't know. It'd be very interesting to see. Yeah, no, I was going to work on the FK1. I was going to drag it over, and I can't. I just can't. I can't move it. Not that I'm not physically capable. I mean, it is stupidly wrong sized for that. So it's it needs to be. It's on wheels, but it needs to be on better wheels. The problem is there's so much stuff in front of it and around it that I couldn't get it over here. I can work on it where it is, but then the camera angles will be weird. But I might tinker with that a little bit too. But yeah, it's just so awkward to try to move that thing. And I was hoping that I could set it between this back table and this table, even though it would be sitting at an angle like this. But it would actually go from that back table to about here. So,
how's my audio quality, by the way? I'm using my I bought the Yeti Nano for when I'm doing like recording not at the desk because it's tiny, and I couldn't find the cable for the regular Yeti today, so I just plugged in the Nano.
That seems fine. I mean, like it's a little bit echoey. Like you can tell that you're back from it, but
I think the echo makes sense too because I'm also listening to you guys on speakers. I am gonna have a permanent headset down here.
No, I don't mean echoing. Like I don't hear myself. I mean like you're
okay.
Like you're talking into a can.
If I talk like this, is it better then?
Oh yeah! Holy cow! Yeah.
We can just do some ASMR Canadian
I was going to
style.
say that's totally ASMR level right there.
That's the.
I also bought it because it's blue and it matches my channel.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I generally only buy things that come in black and yellow. So. I might have a towel here to clean my glasses.
And you can use it to wipe down your tumbler.
Yeah, my black tumbler.
Yeah. That works out great.
Yeah. Mark said, Glenn, I'm glad that you brought the FK1. At some point in the future, I'd like to pick your brain about issues you ran across during your build. Okay. I don't know if I really remember them. There were a handful. The wiring harness seems to be the biggest hindrance on that thing. And of course,
you're still running into troubles with that.
Yeah, that's what I'm fighting right now is that a wire broke again. So I just got to figure that out. We need a wireless hot end.
I bought a 6 foot long power bar this week.
Okay.
Last Sunday, I think it was. I don't remember. Yeah, I probably had it in my stream. I don't know. So it's 12 outlets, 6 foot long. So there's lots of space because I have so many things where it's a transformer that I want to be able to plug it in.
And I was like, well, that's perfect for my filming desk. I can bolt it in underneath. There's a cross beam across the desk I built myself. And then I can do all the wiring from the back. So, you don't see the wiring run all over the place. So I carry it out from the store, and it's too wide to go into my SUV. And we've got 4 people with us. So I ended up having to wedge it like in between the seats, sticking up to the front. I wasn't even thinking. I'm like, oh, this is wider than the Forester is. And Kate starts laughing. I'm like, no, I'm serious. I wasn't joking.
Yeah, I have one that runs across the front of the desk, like, because this is 2 workbenches put together, and I have a bar. I don't know how many. I don't think it's got that many outlets on it though. I think it's only like 6 or 8 outlets, but it's definitely convenient.
Well, I've got power bars plugged into power bars, but the total drawdown here on any of them is only like 200 or 300 watts across the server, across the entire thing. So there's a guy I watch online, Technology Connections, and he was talking about, first of all, how unsafe the American plugs and stuff are compared to other places, because you can take a plug and pull it like halfway out of the outlet and the contacts are still live, but you can get your finger in between them. Whereas I guess the ones in Europe are recessed, so there's never exposed metal that you can touch. Anyways, he's talking about how he gets letters like emails from people saying how unsafe his wiring is, because like at one point he opened one of his drawers and he's got like 8 power bars all linked in together, but all they're doing is powering low power LEDs. So he's like, this makes you cringe, but there's less than 80 watts being drawn across all of this. That's all 5-volt adapters for LED strings and stuff like that. You guys are
I mean, yes, US plugs, you could pull them out and touch the metal. I did it as a kid, not intentionally. It was like one of the 2 prongers, and I had grabbed it and I accidentally touched the metal. And yes, in the UK they're definitely reset, but they're also 220 in the UK. 110 just gives you a little tingle, clears your mind.
You must have watched the new Vice Grip Garage.
What's that?
Did you watch the new Vice Grip Garage?
I've been watching it, yeah.
The one that he released on Friday, though, with the truck?
Oh, no, I haven't watched that one yet. I've been watching Sick Week coverage. So Derek's had some coverage too. Sick Week is put on by Sick Magazine, and it's 5 days, 4 tracks. They started at a track in Bradenton, Florida. And when you get there, you unload your race car out of like off your trailer or whatever. We got a visitor. Doop. Goodbye.
Is that Chavez?
Yeah.
You're just Chavez him out the door?
So, so you unload the car off the trailer, and then you have to impound your truck and trailer. Like, it just goes away. And then, look at Sergio throwing down a sticker with $20 US dollarinos. That is greatly appreciated. So, I got to find his banner. I should probably go through and clean some of these out. Boom, there is Sergio. You have to impound your truck and trailer, and you're not allowed to touch it anymore. Then with your race car, you can pull a small trailer, which Derek did, with like your supplies. So
I just have to say, after watching Letterkenny, I can't hear somebody say the name Derek without going Dirk.
Dirk. But you run the race on the first day. It's all drag race. It's all quarter mile. You run the race, and there's different classes and stuff. And when you're pleased with your slip, for your class, if you're pleased with your time slip, you go turn it in, and then they give you the directions to go to the next track. Like, you have to drive a specific way. There's checkpoints, and you have to stop and take a photo at these different checkpoints and stuff. And then you get to the next track, and you do this. It was Bradenton to Orlando Speed World to Gainesville Speedway to Valdosta Motor Park. And then What I didn't realize is from Valdosta, they came back and stopped at the Don Garlett's Racing Museum, which is like 40 minutes from me. And I could have gone and like hung out with everybody, and I didn't realize it until it was too late.
Wait, you could have hung out even with Dirk?
Yeah, with Dirk. Yeah. Dirk. Cletus was there. Mike Finnegan. 12-volt Dave. There was a whole bunch of people there. And then like I had friends that were there too. I have friends. Like people that I know, for years and years and years went. But so what I thought was really funny about Dark, when you brought him up, that's what made me think about this. He ran in the Danger Ranger 9000 race here in Florida, and he rolled his Ranger over. He competed in the Crown Vic race, and he rolled his Crown Vic over. So he's driving Independence, pulling a little trailer. Do you know that your camera is out?
Yeah, sorry, I had to get up and get some wire, so I'm still listening. I didn't
know if you did that intentionally or not, but so
yeah, I didn't want to be shaking my butt on camera.
Oh, okay, yeah, family friendly channel.
That's right.
So he's pulling his little. He's local maker might said, Glenn, I hope you feel terrible for not going. I do. I really regret not going. It like 40 minutes to go hang out with all those guys. But he goes to pull out of a parking lot, and a car slows down to let him come out, and so he kind of gooses it, and the trailer catches, and he flips the trailer over. And then later, and if you guys watch the videos, you'll see all this. They were almost to the KSR shop in Gainesville, and the passenger side rear wheel came off. It sheared off all the lugs, and the wheel came off. And I'm watching all this, and I'm thinking, I don't think I ever want to ride with Derek.
You'll feel more like that after you watch the recent video at the end.
What's that?
You'll feel more like not riding with him if you watch his most recent video till the end.
The truck?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got it queued up to watch tomorrow. So Glenn Hogue said Derek is less than an hour from me. Yeah, he now that he's not in Minnesota anymore. But it kills me how often he's in Florida, and I haven't been to an event that he's been at. But yeah, I would have liked to have done. So if you compete in Sick Week, they would give you a windshield banner of Sick Week, and then you could follow the whole thing just without the racing, and you were part of the Sick Ward. You still had to follow the path and take the pictures and all of that, and then but that was pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
So I don't know if I'm going to be able to reposition the camera at the moment to give a view of what I'm doing with this printer, but the other thing I want to try, just in case it's power draw on that board that's causing the resets, I'm going to use a MOSFET for the hot end and see what happens with it, just because I don't have any spare parts to swap stuff with right now.
Yeah, no, that's a good plan. A little isolation never hurt.
I need my hex wrenches, so turn off my camera again for a second.
James never wants to see you doing it. He doesn't want you guys to see him doing anything.
I'm just picking my nose. God.
He doesn't want you to know he has legs. So this week, I decided to run a 1/2-inch drill bit, about a 1/2 inch into the palm of my hand. Right there on the middle finger pad, like just right in there. And before you ask, no, I wasn't drilling towards my hand. I was actually holding the piece and drilling this way, and it bound up. And always use a vise. Or hold it with big pliers or whatever, because it happened so fast. And yeah, it quite hurts. It quite hurts.
What if your vise is 3D printing? Can you use that?
What's that?
What if your vise is 3D printing? Can you use that?
That's fine, as long as as long as you have a vise. I got worse ones than 3D printing.
Oh, the devil's in them.
But I was telling James, so every time something bad happens, I always come in and I say to my wife, everything is okay, but I'm going to need your help. And she's gotten used to this. And she's like, oh, what now? So when it happened, immediately, it was so fast. And before I even seen it, I thought, this is not good. I mean, it's not good at all. Brand new drill bit, super sharp, nice clean cut, nice clean mince meat of my hand.
Could be worse though.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse. Well, it could have gone all the way through. That would have been worse.
A little body modification,
Yeah, I mean it bounced off so I kind of cupped my hand like this, thinking that it was going to bleed and be full of blood, but it didn't really bleed that bad. And so I get in, and my wife wants to pour peroxide into it, and I'm like, no, that will hurt worse than actually hitting it with the drill bit. So I cleaned it up with a Q-tip the best I could. It really wasn't bleeding that bad. Put some gauze on it, folded up a gauze, stuck it on there, and put medical tape around it. Went back out to the garage and wrapped electrical tape around it and continued to do what I needed to do. Later that night, I came in and peeled all of that off and cleaned it out better. And I didn't really clean it out until the second or third day. But it was all right. I was drilling PVC, by the way, so there was no metal shards in there. Again, clean drill bit, no need for a tetanus shot. And then I found out that these knuckle bandages fit very nicely over the top of that. So I've been just filling it with Neosporin with the pain reliever in there, and then putting a new Band-Aid on 1 to 2 times a day. So, but that was fun. So yeah, my PSA to you is when drilling, don't hold stuff in your hand. I mean, I'm smart enough not to aim towards myself, but it just grabbed and just jerked it right out of my hand. So I should have put it in a vise. I have a drill press. I could have just locked it into the vise and drilled it on the drill press, but no. Had to drill it right into my hand. So, but yeah, so that's my fun story for this week. It was long overdue. I have not had I'm going to call it a bad accident. I haven't had a bad accident in quite some time. And for all the crazy stuff that I do and the equipment that I run and, the risks that I take. I mean, the night before I was running a router, a wood router in a table.
Not a wireless router?
Not a wireless router. No.
So not something like a Linksys?
Definitely a wired router. And no, DeWalt all the way. It had the 5Gs. And, but I realized that if I ever got my finger into that, that finger's just gone. That thing is just going to completely eat it. So it's not that I'm less careful around other things, but I think I was being less careful around other things. It was just a cordless drill. How bad can it be? So that's your lesson for this week, kids. I did this so that you don't have to. So, it was really great, though. And I wish I would have gotten it on video. But Zach always gives me crap, because I don't like needles. I don't know if I've ever shared that. I'm sure I have.
I think we talked about it last week or the week before.
Yeah, I share everything. But Zach, anytime I have to get a shot, which I have to do my injectable every week. It's one of the push the button injectables. But even the anxiety for that is horrible. But so Zach always gives me a hard time. Oh, you need to get a shot. I want to watch you get a shot. Yeah. So I go out and he's in the living room, and I went, oh, buddy, I I ran a drill bit into my hand and I lifted up the gauze. The look on his face. He was like, oh.
Well, at least he has sympathy for you.
He was a little grossed out by that. Xander won't look at it. So it doesn't look so bad now. I have photos. Do you guys want to see photos? No, I'm kidding. I'm not showing that. Email me. I'll send them to. No.
You gotta make that a Patreon only perk.
Join my Patreon now, and you can see my bloody wound.
Is that gonna be more like OnlyFans?
That's right. Only bloody fans. Ooh, I need to go register that right now.
You know what? Like maybe you should. I bet you could have something that's like a Patreon specifically for like B-movie horror actors and stuff like that.
Oh, I was thinking just like gore sites or gory pictures and gory videos.
Like Al Gore?
Yeah. He invented the internet after all.
Oh, he made the series of tubes.
Another spammer gone. Keep them bots coming.
I can't get this wire into the hole. I've designed myself into an impossible to get to spot, and I don't want to have to remove the board to plug this one thing in.
Right. Holly said, how much do we have to pay to not see the photos? No, I would never post that. That's I can't stand when people post stuff like that. I have a pretty high tolerance for stuff like that. But still, I don't like to see people get hurt. Mainly when it's me. Yeah, so I'm in there and I'm cleaning it up, and I think the shock had started to wear off. Again, it wasn't bleeding, like just a little tiny bit. It was not bleeding bad, which is surprising. But all of a sudden, like the shock kind of wore off, and I started to feel woozy. And then I felt like I was going to vomit. I'm like, this isn't good. Yeah, it's fine. The good part is I can look in there and see that my hand bone is good. You know, the bone's okay. I can see it in there. There's not really a lot of meat right there.
Do you know
there's really not a lot of meat right there. But
do you know the most painful thing I ever did to myself? Do you?
Sure.
So Kay and I, when we lived in our hometown, we had a basement apartment, and the door for the basement apartment was at the back, and you like immediately went down a flight of stairs, and the landing was kind of small. So like to open the door, if I was staying in the landing, I kind of had to like step around the door as I open and close it. So the one day I get up for work, and I think it was late fall, so I start the car for a couple minutes before I get out. And so I'm coming back in, and I go to close the door, and I go to step around it, and I didn't get my hand out of the way in time as the door closed, and it pulled my pinky fingernail straight out.
Oh, nice. Oh,
yeah. And I didn't realize it at the time. I thought it just split it because it damaged the nail bed as it pulled it off. So I looked down, and I'm getting like you see in like comedy movies where I've got like the pressure blood squirting out of the tip of my finger. Nobody's home with me, so I'm trying not to pass out because like I can feel my heartbeat in my ears. I get my fingertip wrapped off. I call my boss, and I'm like, I'm going to be a little late for work. I crushed my finger and I'm trying to see like, did I break the tip of my finger? Because it obviously got squished pretty good. Didn't seem to, but I didn't realize I pulled the fingernail off. I thought I just split it, but like I thought that was going on. So I get it to stop bleeding. I go to work. I'm doing my best to be delicate with the finger, and I go home at lunch, and my fingernail's lying on the carpet.
Oh.
That was unpleasant.
Oh, I can imagine.
And I got pictures. I'll put them on my Patreon.
Put them on only bloody fans.
For the
I
right
was
price, you can own that fingernail.
I was about 18, maybe 19 years old, and I was working in a bar, and I was prepping for open, and I was cutting limes, and I came across with the knife and took just this edge of my thumb off. It's actually still a little bit weird shaped. Just kind of pretty good chunk, like an 1/8 inch clean off of there, all the way through, with fresh lime juice in it.
Well, I mean, you need that extra flavoring.
Oh my god, that was so bad. Like the cut wasn't that bad, but the pain was just woo.
Definitely woke you up, is what you're saying.
What's that?
Definitely woke you up, is what you're saying.
Oh yeah. I definitely knew it happened, but I ain't no sissy. I'll wrap it up and go back to work.
If you did it today, though, you totally take the afternoon off, right?
Nope. No, it would have to be pretty extreme. Like, a head injury, I would probably sit the day out.
Speaking of which, did you see they figured out how Bob Saget died?
No.
He had a head injury, so they think he maybe like slipped and hit his head somewhere and then went to bed to sleep it off and just never woke up.
Wow. Huh. That's pretty crazy.
Isn't that something?
Life is fragile.
Yes, and so are all of us.
Yep. Well, thanks for bringing the show down.
No problem. glad to be of assistance.
Yeah, I'm wondering why that didn't come across my news feed.
I saw it earlier this week.
Huh. Well, at least it wasn't, because everybody was speculating that it was drug abuse or, and it's like from Bob Saget, like.
Yeah, I said to Kay, it's like at least it leaves him a cleaner legacy. Like, I know he wasn't the cleanest comedian, but.
No, but I mean, like.
It's been so long since I've seen anybody die in what felt like an ordinary, like I guess Betty White at 99, but like. Yeah. So often when you hear about somebody dying, it's.
Yeah, she had a good run, but well, I mean, like Bob Saget was kind of like, if you ran a 3D printing channel that catered to, families, a parent and a child, you would definitely be clean, but then you could have an alter ego that was less clean.
Who's that? Is that you?
I'm just saying it could happen.
Are you talking about me swearing as a Canadian?
No. I'm just saying, like, if you ran one kind of channel where it was always clean, and then you could have another channel where occasionally something slips.
Like in the garage.
It's usually when you're working on a Ford.
And you keep saying the F word that's not Ford.
Right. Ford is the F word. Holy cow. I got two of them in the garage right now. Except for the other Ford that's in there actually is only in there because the battery went bad. Less than a year old Interstate battery. For those of you who know Interstate. Pretty decent battery, or they always were. I don't know how they are anymore, but yeah, it's less than a year old, and the guy that owns the truck was thinking maybe the alternator was bad because it wouldn't start, so he put Clint says, I know the pain. I only have 9.5 fingers left. That is awful, and I'm sorry to hear that, even though I chuckled when you said that. But yeah, he thought the alternator was going bad because it wouldn't start, so he put it on charge, and it started, drove it to work, and then it wouldn't start again. So I went and picked up the battery and brought it back and put it on charge with the intentions of going up, starting the truck, and driving it back to the house. And battery charged fine. Like it went through the cycle. I have a really nice 2 cars equals many unfinished projects. Oh no, there's just 2 Fords in there. But yeah, it went through I have a NOCO charger, so it went through the whole charge process. Took the battery up, put it in, wouldn't start. But as soon as I put my jump box on it, it started right up. And I thought, well, that's weird. So I got it back to the house, put the voltmeter on it, and with it running, it was running right around 14.8 volts. Shut it off, and it was at 8 volts. If I disconnect the battery, it'll sit at 10 because, like dome lights and stuff were running. So definitely a bad battery. So, but still under warranty. He'll get it fixed. He'll get it replaced, and then I'll get it put back in there, and then it can be on its way. It's also got a problem with the ABS unit, so gotta look at that. But they want a lot of money for one of those, so that might be a junkyard run. 2 cars equals many unfinished projects. I can't even begin to tell you how many unfinished projects I have.
Is it 4?
It's more than 4.
Oh, is it 5?
It's more than 4 and less than 100.
Is it 400? Oh no,
And that's just a guess. But it looks like I have at least 3 projects lined up after this one.
Well, that's good.
Well, now they say that 4. At least 4 projects lined up after this one that are video worthy. So that'll be fun. And I'm now the proud owner of a GoPro 10, a GoPro 10 Black. I think that's the only one you can get. I think that's the only 10 that they make is black. So I don't even know why they still put that designation on it. But they're on sale at GoPro.com right now, and it seemed like a really great deal. And so I made a bad decision and bought one. I just needed a camera that was a lot smaller that I could get into tighter places. My DSLR is great. I love it, but it is quite bulky. Mainly with that telephoto lens that, no, never mind.
Trying to get the power supply out of this thing. It's just slightly off camera, but she's a tight fit. I say I designed it that way, but I didn't design the power supply holder for a meanwhile. That's been an aftermarket upgrade.
Well, and to have 2 power supplies.
Yeah, those are all the fancy things that we've added.
I gotta figure out what I want for dinner tonight.
Lobsters stuffed with tacos.
Wawa. We're having food from the Wawas.
Wawa West.
You guys have Wawa up there?
We do not.
I know that they're in the northeast of the U.S. I just didn't know if they crossed the border. It's a pretty great. It's a gas station. It's a convenience store, but.
I mean, I've had food from Wawa when I've been there. I think the last IRF I went to, we went and hung out at the bar for a bit, and then there was a Wawa's across the parking lot.
Yeah,
So,
well, they added a bunch of stuff. Now you can get burgers and all kinds of stuff. Glenn Hogue said, Interstate batteries are manufactured by Johnson Controls, same as Walmart and AutoZone. The particular model probably differ a bit between resellers, but it's mostly the label. Yeah, I always had good luck with Interstate batteries. When I had my auto customizing shop years and years ago, I was a Interstate battery reseller, and they were always good for me. So, man, these bots are relentless today. Yeah. Goodbye. But yeah, I actually Walmart's Everstart batteries are my current battery of choice because I didn't mean to show that. Because they are cheap and they seem to work really well. So
hope everybody's enjoying the shot of my arm. As I realize there's no real good position for me to put the camera in right now. It's like, well, I'll just leave it pointed right at my forearm.
Bob Kern says as time goes on, products change. Well, and then one company buys out another company, and I'm gonna dig on Advance Auto Parts for a minute. Now, Advance is my current choice of local auto parts stores because they're literally 3 miles away from me, almost to the 10th of a mile. So it's very convenient. But they bought out the Die Hard name, and Die Hard was always a good battery. They bought out the Die Hard name and just started sticking them on the same junk batteries that they sell. I was never really excited about Advance's batteries, though I did used to buy them because they had great online coupons. But yeah. And then for those of you who have a Rural King has super cheap batteries, but they're also garbage. So, wow, another one. Woo! Busy bot day today.
Another bot bites the dust.
Just like that.
Oh.
Block the user.
Only one way to find out if I wired this part correctly now.
Glenn Hook said there are only a few actual battery manufacturers. That is true. It's a huge investment since you're dealing with lead. Well, lead and acid, you know.
And then
So,
you accidentally drop the acid. And
yeah. Well, or you use the brown acid.
then you have to report to the medical tent.
Whew. Yeah, this stream took a weird turn.
Okay, well, this printer officially has nothing that's directly powered from the board. So, who knows? That there's the MOSFET that I have. I just left it dangling there. It's okay though, because there's at least 2 or 3 layers of wires before the bare metal chassis. That's a good band name, Bare Metal Chassis.
Bare Metal Chassis. Sounds like Bare Naked Ladies. Bob Carnes said there's a really good one in eastern Pennsylvania that makes quality products. That is Penn. Somebody tell me the name. Something Penn batteries or Penn something batteries. And yes, they are good. You do pay a little bit more for them, and they're not as readily available. I think that's who Napa rebrands.
Oh wait, I know it. Penn and Teller.
Is it? No, I think it's like East Penn batteries. Somebody needs to tell me, otherwise I got to look it up. Spoon feed me. East Penn, yeah.
How am I going to do this one?
Call East Penn. Oh yeah, I already looked it up, Bob. Thanks. Red light in the house. How are you, Mike? Entertain the people for a minute so I can figure out what I want to eat.
I feel like there's something I have to change in the firmware to make it work well with the MOSFET for the hot end, but I don't remember what it was, so I'm just not going to worry about it. We're just going to pretend we didn't see it.
I'm going to do what any guy would do and just pretend like I didn't see that. I can't remember if you have to actually change anything for the MOSFET. I don't think it really cares.
I think it's more like because you need to not pulse the power on and off so frequently but I don't know.
Well, I think for testing it'll be fine.
Guess we'll find out.
Recovering from knee replacement. Did you get a bionic knee or just like a regular replacement knee? I mean, if you're going to get a knee replacement, you should get a bionic one so that you can give out real butt kickings.
Or get a tall one. I think they're called a high knee.
A high knee?
Thanks. I'll be here all day.
Well, Mike, I hope everything is going well.
Which mic's recovering from Oh, red light.
Red light. Red light, Mike. I just don't know what I want.
Joppa Ponds?
What?
Joppa Ponds. Papa John's.
Oh, no. It's coming from Wawa. So my wife goes to a thing at the church every Sunday night, and the only restaurant between the church and here, even though we're like 15 minutes apart, is Little Caesars, which is disgusting. Another spam bot. Report.
No, spam bot.
Remove. Bye-bye. And Little Caesars makes me sick to my stomach, so I don't want to eat that. I don't want to.
We're just about ready to start printing.
Well, they have cheesesteak subs there. I didn't know that. Oh, Amazon's here. I never order anything from Amazon.
I didn't even know they were still in business.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you what. I want to make a prediction. I've told a few people that I know, like in real life. Not that I don't know you guys in real life, but
You've met me in person.
yeah, I have.
How rude.
We hung out together in a hotel room.
On camera.
That is true too. I am guessing. I am prophesizing, predicting, however you want to look at it, that Amazon will become a shipping company this year.
Like adding to the repertoire?
Like you will be able to ship stuff through Amazon.
Yeah, they're going to be another like UPS or Pure
UPS, FedEx. Yeah.
They already have the infrastructure in place to do that type of stuff.
Completely. They have warehousing space everywhere. They have trucks everywhere. When I went to pick up the drive shaft for my truck, which was down in Orlando, I pulled in and I was waiting in a turn lane, waiting for the light, and there's a Amazon warehouse there. And all of a sudden I was surrounded by probably 40 Amazon vans. It was really kind of unnerving, but I can absolutely see them doing it. UPS and FedEx, I mean, UPS a little less than FedEx, but they really kind of suck. And our postal service, no offense to anybody that works for the postal service, I'm sure you do a fine job, but as a whole, being it's government run, is awful. Oh, want me to tell you what I really think? Polish Gamer popping in, asking how we're doing, and wants to know what's going to be printing.
I think it's part of a dice tower.
We're just hoping anything is printing on that thing.
Yeah, it got a couple hours into the because it's a fairly sizable print. It got an hour or two into the last one before it just died.
That's just so weird.
I think the board needs to be replaced. I'm hoping to patch it up quick enough that I can free up some space in my basement for a little bit, because otherwise the parts I think are coming from AliExpress. He's handling getting them in, because otherwise you're paying double the price for the same board that you get through Amazon, and they're just usually drop shipping it anyways.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I ordered some fingernail scrub brushes, fingernail brushes, from AliExpress, and it took over a week for it to ship. Like from the point I ordered until it actually, in fact, it was almost 10 days. It's gotten really bad getting stuff.
So Bob Carnes asks what the backstory of this is. So friend of mine's printer, he got it.
He's not talking to you. He's talking to Jameis.
What?
So what's the backstory on this printer, Jameis?
Jameis. Friend got it a little over a year ago, and it was having some issues, so he brought it to me, and he asked me to make it self-contained. So I mounted it so the power supply and the control board and everything are underneath the bed, which maybe not super ideal, but anyways. So he's been using it for about a year, and all of a sudden it just started powering off when he would run the hot end and the bed at the same time. So he lives an hour from here, and I said, well, it sounds like it's probably the power supply. It's not being able to handle the draw. So he swapped the original power supply with a Meanwhile power supply, and the issue persisted. So finally, I was working on his ANET. He had an A8 that was having issues, and I'd gotten it fixed. So he asked if he could trade them, come pick up the working one, drop off the broken one. So last week on the stream, we went through, and the resistance on the bed seems to be significantly lower than it should be. So the bed itself is drawing like well in excess of 350 watts. So is that not sticking to the bed there? Can't tell. Anyways, so we piggybacked another power supply into it so that it's got enough amperage available to it to heat the bed. But then last week, after it started printing, after about 2 hours, it just reset itself. And it wasn't like a lost power reset. The fans and everything kept running. So it was different than when it was crashing because of lack of power. But so now I suspect the main board is shot. But I'm trying a MOSFET on the hot end, the event that it's just that it can't handle the extra draw right now. And that brings us to this test print right this second.
So, Mr. Never Let the Machines Win made a good point. Chinese New Year delay, that is very possible. I guess I'll take that.
That will definitely be part of it.
I'll take that 1-star rating off of the sale now. That is a good point. I didn't think about that.
I'm gonna go ahead and reheat everything, but I think the probe distance is a little too far away.
I think every country should do that, where you just shut down for a whole week. I mean, not at the same time, but
no, my primary printer now is probably my MK3S, and then I've got a Prusa Mini as my secondary printer. But I haven't been doing a lot of 3D printing. I have started working on the miniature TV design I came up with to go along with my mini Nintendo.
you should make everything big instead of mini.
I should make everything big?
Yeah.
But you got to remember, I'm limited on space.
It's so nice having things that are just like massive and always in the way.
I wouldn't know.
I have to say, I have considered putting this printer back in its crate and just leaving it in its crate in storage. But I really gotta fix it now. It was printing so nicely, and then it just stopped.
I agree. You have to finish it.
Well, it is finished. It just now needs to be repaired. All right, so it's not really finished because the wiring harness has never been right. I need to just order all new wire and do it again. Use this one as a template and make a new one. And I also want to change out all of the 3D printed cable chains to be actual store-bought cable chains. I was trying to keep as much of it 3D printed as possible, but 3D printed cable chains, they have issues. Okay.
So there's the I'll tilt this up.
What's that?
Hold on. There's the front of the mini TV. It's a 5-inch screen. So picture silver dials and stuff over here where the holes are. But it's got a full like CRT housing style on the back, so the parts just aren't all printed yet.
And then you got to do a little mini VCR.
Well, I've got the mini Nintendo to go on top, and I also designed mini rabbit ears.
Oh, I was going to say rabbit ears would be fun too.
Yeah. I did that. Hey, look, there's you. And the mess that I call my desk.
Mark said, why not at the same time? That way it can be planned of everything stopping for a week. Could you imagine the whole entire world just...
Well, it's the stag you run it. And like they'll never be able to do like a full world shutdown. Like grocery stores and stuff are still going to have to remain open.
Yeah, well, and like the cops have to work, and the paramedics and the fire people, and
Glenn.
Yeah, and probably me. Gosh.
I volunteered Glenn as tribute.
We get a pandemic, and I happen to work for an industry that was considered essential.
Been there. Like this time. I'm there. Wow. The click-through rate on my latest video is 11.3%. I paid a guy to make the thumbnail for me. Previous videos have been 4 to 5%.
Wow.
It is currently #1 in views. It's had 56 views in the first 3 hours. And for a channel that's only got 500 and some subscribers, that's 10% of it's 10% of my viewer base has clicked on it in the first 3 hours.
I don't understand why it didn't show up. Maybe I'm not subscribed to you.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. There's plenty of people that are like, oh, I never seen these videos you're talking about. It's like, well, they're on my secondary channel. And then they go, oh, sorry.
There's no way that I'm not.
What?
There's no way that I'm not subscribed to you.
Was my issue that I was too close before?
No, it's possible because I probably didn't subscribe to you on like all of my accounts.
That would make sense. You know what? And like this is the other thing too, Google's actually gotten really good at telling for duplicate accounts. So people will like, subscribe them and all their friends and stuff to my stuff. And it shows, and then like a week later, it determines like, oh, these are all duplicate accounts. And then it drops by the extras. It thinks Kay and I are the same person. So if she unsubscribes from me, my subscriber count doesn't actually go down.
Oh, yeah, probably coming from the same IP address.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at my YouTubes right now, but it's my Fun King 3D account. I think I'm subscribed to you on my personal account.
I am not offended either way. But this
No,
will be
it
my
just
last
bothers me, like, because I mean, if I am subscribed, I don't understand why it's not showing me. Like, why is it not feeding your videos to me?
It's because I'm a bobblehead Canadian.
Oh, that could be. Yeah, the subscriptions don't come across the border.
Nothing's coming across the border right now.
That big mountain is in the way. Yeah, I've got it. I think pretty well now where everything 3D printing. Like I'm still subscribed to everybody that I can possibly find that's in 3D printing with my Fun King 3D account. And then my personal account is the stuff that I actually watch. Don't take that the wrong way. It's just the way it is. I can't watch 3D printing YouTube videos. Like it's just, I can just do it at home. I don't need to watch it. So
I think the problem with that ends up being one of YouTube's big thing is click-through rate to determine how successful a video is. So if you're subscribed to somebody, to support them as a 3D printer, and then you see one of their videos pop up as like a notification and you don't click on it, that actually hurts their channel.
Yeah, but I don't ever log into that channel. Like,
so you never see any of the notifications anyways.
Right. Oh, I have notifications turned off on all of them.
It's been so long since you're on that account that you log in and it's like recommended videos, the wheel.
Yeah, exactly. Hoop and a stick.
Uh,
3D printed hoop and stick.
it's a ball in a cup.
That would probably be really popular. Somebody right now model that. I bet it would be huge.
The longest edit for me in my new video is I wanted to put a picture of Picard from Star Trek when he was assimilated on the display in one of the shots. So for me to edit the picture so that it fit properly, because the image wasn't square, so I can just like put it over top of it. That was the hardest part for me because I'm not good at that stuff yet. So I like took the monitor, then I traced the outline. I'm making hand motions like you guys can see right now.
Right.
I took the monitor, I traced the outline of the image, and then I put the picture of I put that over top of the picture of Picard as a mask, so then I could then adjust the size so it would be properly sized. And then using that mask, I was able to cut out the picture of him with those lines on it, so it would fit directly over to the monitor. And then to make the rest of it transparent, so then all I had to do was paste it over top of the scene, and it was there. But like,
you should have just like printed it out and then taped it to the front of the monitor.
The thing is, like, it was an edit I decided to do while I'm editing what I've already filmed. So for me to do it, I wouldn't be able to set up everything in the exact same position again.
Yeah. Yeah, what's really funny about, because again, I don't really look at the videos on my Fun King 3D YouTube. There's like a lot of Letterkenny stuff in here. I am not anti-Canadian. YouTube is anti-Canadian. And then it goes quiet. 16 people watching. That's not too bad for the big game Sunday.
Yeah, it's not too bad at all.
I'm just like I'm not a sports guy. I like watching Gator football, and that's about it. Let me tell a fun football story. So Zach joined flag football, and he can't. Like, he's not good at throwing, and he's not really good at catching, but the boy can run. Like, he can really, really run. And so that's kind of his secret, like that's his thing. But I was trying to get him to be focused because he's also ADD. But game Daytona is next Sunday. So I had said to him last week at the game, I said to him, listen, anytime you pull a flag on a kid with the ball, I'll pay you $5. So he was all excited. Well, he didn't pull any flags. So this week I said to him, the first one that you pull, I'll give you $20. That kid pulled a flag yesterday. I'm like, crap, there goes $20.
He was probably waiting for you to push the price up.
Could be. He is a rough negotiator. But no, he stopped a 2-point conversion. So the rules in flag football are completely different than regular football, and I don't really understand. Like, I never looked into it, so I just cheer for him and don't try to figure out what's going on.
I'm scuffing up the bed here with some 0-0 steel wool.
Mark said, well, 16 people have YouTube playing, whether they're watching or not is another thing. That is true. And now it's down to 15. Somebody ran away. It's the bots. If we let the bots in here. Oh, Bennett's here. Hi, Bennett. Says, I honestly don't even know what teams are playing in the Super Bowl this year. Oh.
Bengals and Rams.
Shh.
Okay.
I wasn't even supposed to say the SB thing. The big game. You have to call it the big game. If you say SB, then you owe them money. Alan asked, for us foreigners, what's flag football? So they wear a belt, and on each side of it, there's a ribbon that sticks off. That's, I don't know, about 1.5 feet long, and it's got a disconnect on it. And so instead of tackling, you just grab and pull the flag. So as long as you get one of the flags off of them, then they're considered down.
I just realized the screws that hold my tray for my keyboard are loose. I'm just doing some preventative maintenance. Yeah, I got a screw loose. Thanks, Dad. You know, some people have a dad and some people have a dad.
A dad?
Dad.
Oh.
You know the other thing we'll have to do on stream at some point? And we can play this with people in the stream. I have all the collections of, they're called the Jackbox games. I don't know if you've ever played them.
No.
So it's like, remember the game You Don't Know Jack?
Yeah.
So that's one of the games that's in the pack, but they've got all these different games that you can play. So I would be able to stream my screen and show like the main gameplay, and then you can log in from your phone up to like 8 people and play the different trivia games and stuff that are in it.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
The only problem is the people we invite, we have to make sure they're going to keep it family friendly because, you know, the game's not going to filter that out.
Right.
Actually, I think some of the newer games actually have a thing where you can force family friendly as the. So. Percussive maintenance is a sound investment strategy.
Glenn Hogue said, no teams that I care about are playing in the big game today.
Me either, because I don't care about any of them.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the NFL at all. Like, couldn't really care one way or the other.
I used to bowl in a league, and I would watch bowling on TV while I was bowling in a league. I don't do either of those things anymore. And that's about all the sports I ever watched. I would say I've watched the baseball episode from Star Trek Deep Space Nine more than I've watched actual baseball.
Oh,
games.
baseball is so boring.
Baseball is one of the few things that I've been to live. When I was in grade 4, I think, my mother won like an all expenses paid trip to Toronto to see the Blue Jays play in 2 games. So we got to go and see that live, and I don't really remember much about the game other than at one point somebody hit a pop fly right where we were sitting, and my mom was scared I was going to hit by the ball, so she was holding me. And even after the ball was on the ground and was like 2 feet from me, she wouldn't let me go. And this woman walking up the alley like jumped over the seat, dumped her ice cream, almost hit me with it, and took it and ran off. I was like 10 years old. And then my mom, I'm so sorry. She bought me a Blue Jays baseball piggy bank to make up for it, and I still have it.
Glenn Hogue said baseball's more fun at the park than on TV. Well, that's only because of the food.
They'll buy you some peanuts and a Cracker Jacks, and you won't care if you ever come back.
I mean, yes, it's definitely true. Any type of sporting event seems to be more fun when you're there. Like wrestling, I've never been a fan of wrestling. Ever. But I've been to a few live matches, and it's way more fun to be there. There's a lot more energy there.
Here's the weird thing. Like, I never go out of my way to watch UFC events, but I have a friend that's really into UFC, and like when he's down, we'll watch them, and I really enjoy them. But like, I never have the desire to watch it outside of when I'm watching with,
right.
him or friends.
He leaves, and then you never watch it again.
Yeah, but they had a UFC event live in Ottawa, so he came down. We went to that live, and that was interesting. Except for I don't get any of the terminology right. And at one point, it's like, that's not a reversal. I was like, oh, okay, I'll shut up now.
Well, I asked Zachy just yesterday. I asked him, I said, I said, would you be interested in going to a monster truck rally? And he was like, kind of like him on around. I said, all right, well, you already took too long to answer that question, so I guess not. And I said, would you be interested in going to a NASCAR race? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, I'll figure that out. I got to go to, this was years and years and years and probably years ago. I got to go to Daytona International Speedway when Chevrolet they were testing the new cars for that year, and got to go down on the infield and stuff as they're winging by at 200 plus miles an hour. And that was an incredible experience. I said, you watch the cars and it's like, they're going. Oh, they're on the back straightaway. They come around, and all of a sudden it's like, meow.
It's like it took them 20 minutes to get here and 5 seconds to pass me.
Oh, it's not even 5 seconds. They are gone so quickly.
I haven't watched a lot of NASCAR since Dale died.
Really? It's been that long?
It's been that long.
Wow.
I mean, I liked Dale Jr. as well, but he was never quite where his dad was.
No, nobody was ever where his dad was.
There's also it looks so much tamer than a lot of his other accidents that you like. I remember watching the clips and being like, "Oh, he's just going to jump out of the car pissed off."
Yeah.
Ticked off. I probably shouldn't say. Sorry about that.
But I mean, that's just it. I mean, it takes just one little thing that went wrong. So Bennett said, take them to a combat robotics event if there are any in Florida. It's a lot of fun to watch in person. Fortunately, we get that experience every year at Orlando Maker Faire. Well, every year except for stupid 2020. But yeah, they have Robot Ruckus at Orlando Maker Faire.
Teenager is that? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Mitch has been there with Sub-Zero.
T-Majors enter chat. T-Major is the owner of this printer.
Oh, T-Major. I thought you said teenager.
T-Majors with attitude.
I'm like, there's a teenager in the chat?
There probably is.
Well, yeah, Bennett's here. No, I just I have full intentions on doing a lot more car circuit type stuff next year. So
I don't know what we'll be doing next year. I don't think I'm quite ready to go to the. I'm not well known enough, and I don't. Based on my experience with the Rep Rap festivals, they haven't really gotten my name out there more. I don't think I've ever gained subscribers as a result of going to them.
No, Rep Rap festivals are purely to go and see the people that you know, or the people that already know you.
Tim, it is printing whatever was on the card when you gave it to me. I think it might be part of a dice tower. At this point, I'm just hoping for bad adhesion.
Yeah, completed print would be nice.
One step at a time. I'm aiming for 1,000 subscribers before 1 million.
I wonder if I can. I'm gonna get my multimeter and I'm gonna drag my camera over. How much time do we got left?
40 minutes.
Oh, that's good. I'm gonna get my multimeter and see if I can meter that harness on the FK1. I don't know why I feel when I walk away from the camera that I have to speak louder.
I don't think this is going to stick, but I can't tell because the file for some reason also doesn't seem to retract when it's moving near the bed. So there's movement lines of filament that I can't tell if it's stuff that didn't stick to the bed or if it's movement lines.
Oh, yeah. Give me a second. I'll move my camera. I don't want you guys to not get to see this beautiful face of mine. So we'll go to this one. It's a great view.
I'll figure out better cameras and stuff in the upcoming weeks.
What's that?
I said I'll figure out better camera angles and stuff in the upcoming weeks, or if I'm going to be doing printer repairs here.
Well, I'm hoping now that I have the GoPro 10 that I can use one of my old GoPros as my streaming camera for up here. Should give me a little better picture.
The other thing is too, at this point, I'm just seeing like this is a longevity print. So as long as it sticks well enough that it's not going to come off the bed and make a mess, I don't care if the print ends up perfect. It's not my filament, so I don't care if I waste it.
Well, now where I am, I can't see the chat. So if anybody's talking to me, please speak loudly.
Type in all caps, please. Nightbot loves that.
Yeah, if you don't type in all caps, I won't see it.
You have to speak up. I'm in a towel.
I still want to get rid of this BL Touch and go to a inductance probe. I should see if I have. You guys can stare at the FK1 for 5 seconds while
I mean, all they want to do is stare at the FK1. That is a massive printer.
Yeah, unfortunately, the guy that built it doesn't necessarily know what he's doing when it comes to building printers.
That's okay. I was there to help you.
Building. Yeah, he sure did.
I helped you fix one design thing only because I had already run into the same issue, and I'm forever going to be
one design flaw that made me have to start all over again. I've built like numerous amounts of wiring harnesses for automobiles and whatever, but I've never built wiring harnesses that had to move.
I was going to say that's probably where the big difference comes from.
Yeah. And again, I ordered and used silicone wire. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was Scott McClellan that bought all that for me. Figuring that I would need the extra flexibility. So here's a good trick if you don't know. These are I think they're wig pins. Can you see that? I don't know if it's showing up. They're like a T-shaped stick pin.
Okay.
That I just dropped on the bed of my printer. But this is also a good trick for automotive too. But when you need to probe into a connector, instead of like jamming it into the wire, you can use these pins to put it up into the connector, and then it doesn't do any damage. And you're not tearing up the actual wires themselves. Oh. So I didn't use silicone wire. I used the factory harness for the BL Touch, which is not silicone. That might have been why that one let loose.
You figured it out. You're the world's greatest detective.
What's that?
I said you figured it out. You're the world's greatest detective.
Well, I figured it out, but I don't necessarily know that this is the problem. I don't use this meter very often, so I don't really know how to use it. Voltage, DC? No, that's not what I want. I want continuity. I want to annoy you guys with the beep. I need my super spectacles. I can't see. I really wanted to have this thing pulled over here so I could work on it on regular camera, but because I may have to be able to get up underneath it to check the remainder of the harness.
I don't know for sure which bed it is. I think it says Energetic 3D on it. It's a flex sheet with PEI on it.
I think I found it. Looks like it's the red wire. How much of this can you guys see? Okay, so I have a connector here, and then I have a connector at the hot end, and then it goes down to the BL Touch. And it seems that it's broken in this chain on the red wire. So that's not a terrible spot to have to fix.
Yeah, it's worse when it's in the middle of the chain. You got to pull everything back out.
Well, I mean, it's in the middle of this chain, but I mean, these are all individuals. Like I made each one of these an individual harness. But if it was in the part that goes up and back down underneath, that would have been the hard part.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said it was broken right at the BL Touch. My bad.
Well, and I might be getting false readings too. I have to unplug the BL Touch because I was just getting some weird resistance readings on that. These glasses that Uncle Ron gave me some time ago are just awesome. I use these probably every day.
Well, we're on to layer 2. Yes, Tim is qualified to answer questions on this printer. In fact, I'll be deferring all further questions to him.
Me too.
He'll keep our chat going.
This is a riveting live stream when nobody's talking.
Well, like you said, it's a big game day. So I blame anything that goes wrong today on that.
Okay. It's killing my back standing like this.
At some point in the next couple weeks, I found the bed for my resin printer in the box, covered in cat hair. So at some point in the next couple of weeks, I'm gonna have to pull all that out, get it cleaned up, and set up again in the event that I need to print anything in resin.
What's the chances of having 2 broken wires in the same harness?
There's always a chance. Oh, Vince did the math. He came out at 26.3552% chance.
Tw- 23 what?
26.352% chance.
Oh. Does that factor in the fact into take into consideration that I built it?
Yeah, that's where the 0.352 comes from.
Okay. All right. Brown wire is good.
So far, I haven't printed anything else on the Prusa Mini, but I've been using the spool stand that comes with it for all my printer maintenance since it can go anywhere.
Well, that's nice.
I bought the Mini specifically because it's going to be my traveling printer. So like when I go to visit my folks and stuff, because whenever I'm there, if somebody comes up with something, I can 3D print for them. So I'd like to have one that I can bring with me, and then but I haven't actually been going anywhere lately. "3D Maker Kid says, I think I'm running 24 AWG silicone for most of my tool head harness, and it works really well.
Say that again.
I think I'm running 24 AWG silicone for most of my tool head harness, and it works really well.
Yeah, I can't remember what gauge this is. I think most of this is 18. Just probably too small for the length, but I was trying to keep it condensed.
Well, I mean, that it'll be fine for everything but the heater cartridge, probably.
Yeah, those are bigger. The
Other than that, you're not carrying high amounts of current.
yeah, the stepper motor wires are bigger and the heater cartridge wires are bigger. But it's a long run too, like
Yep.
this is absolutely killing my back standing like this. Yeah, so it looks like I have two broken wires. The red one and the orange one. Sorry, Mike. Orange.
Orange.
Orange. I said orange.
That's why you can never trust anything with the color orange in it.
No, don't want to insult. I don't want to insult the color orange.
Yeah, especially since Mike's in here right now.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's between this connector through this chain and this connector. Two broken wires. So not terrible. Not
Could be worse.
absolutely, it could be worse. So now comes the decision. Do I patch that? Probably. Or do I rebuild the whole entire wiring harness? And if I'm going to patch that, should I bail on the BL Touch and go to a inductance probe? I always have to think about that because I always think capacitance, but it's not. You don't want capacitance because it creates problems. Like if you accidentally, if you go to clear a nozzle clog and you get your finger too close to the probe, it'll think it's your finger. Like it'll think it's the bed.
It got a lot further before it restarted last time, Tim. It was an hour or
Yeah,
two.
don't be jinxing stuff. You don't know how stuff around here works. That's it. It's over now.
I'm going to fix it permanently.
Permanently.
So far, all it's taken is me adding a MOSFET and 360 watts of additional power.
So
Real standard repairs.
a BL Touch, which, don't get me wrong, the BL Touch seemed to have been working fine, but a BL Touch uses 5 wires, as where an inductance or capacitance probe only uses 3. That's correct, right?
Yep.
So that would be 2 less wires running through that harness. That might be worth it right there. But if I'm going to do that, then I'm going to end up having to rebuild the whole harness anyway, which needs to be done.
We're on to layer 3.
Wonder if I used flat ribbon cable.
You have to, if you use flat ribbon cable, you definitely need to run it and flatten it properly so that it curves the way you want it to.
Yeah, I would lay it in the back of the chain.
Yeah. I actually have a band of like 5 meters, so 15 feet of ribbon wire. That's probably like the perfect width for the back of that thing. It's like, I think 10 or 12 wires. Because then you could technically create yourself some breakout boards on either side of the harness. And so, you put a connector on the ribbon cable, and you have a little circuit board on either side that it can connect to, and then you break it out to the larger connections you need to make it easier to connect to things.
Yeah, size is definitely a concern. Like just the amount of space that it takes up. I tried to use the smallest connectors I could, and they're still fairly large. I don't know. I might go ahead and fix that harness for right now.
I mean, I would get it back up and running for now and then put some thought into how you're going to deal with it the next time.
Yeah, well, I would have to redesign how the probe mounts and everything, which, I mean, that took a lot to get that into that small of a package.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of breakup boards since I started designing my own PCBs, because it means that you can sort of make sure all the wires and stuff come in the order that you're expecting. It takes some of the guesswork out of trying to wire stuff on the other side.
Yeah.
But that was more in response to Mark saying that he wants to do breakup boards on his current build.
Yeah. He also asked if I have a build sheet for the FK1. If you mean like a BOM file, it'd be a bill of materials, kind of. I was keeping really good track of all of that until we got towards the end, and like things started to change real rapidly. But I mean, I have all of the STL files for printing, and then I have a fairly good list. I mean, down to every nut, bolt, and screw. But I also have this entire printer in CAD. Every nut, bolt, screw, washer. I think the only things that aren't actually in the CAD are the wires. That's why they don't work. But no, like I can go back in and look and say, oh, there's 4 of these screws and there's 10 of these screws. And so, and then I'm trying to remember if I would have had to have. I wouldn't have updated the bill of materials when I went to the 4 lead screws, but I did update the CAD. The CAD sheet or the CAD drawing is correct. So, I mean, it's really, other than paperwork, it's fully capable of me handing it over to somebody else to build one. I would have to do things like spell out, you need a piece of 20 by 60 V slot, this length, and to this length, but I think otherwise. And then when I added the 4 lead screws, and I added the daughter board for the duet, then the electronics box changed, some of the bracketry underneath changed. So I know that's not in the bill of materials. But again, I'd like to know that it works before I give it to somebody else. I mean, I guess
or you're giving it to somebody that is going to be willing to work with and help solve.
Yeah, well, because as soon as I release it, it's going to be released with 0 support. I don't want to spend every waking moment of my day trying to support somebody else building this. I mean, I want people to build on it. Like, hey, I figured out this is a better way to do this, or whatever. That would be great. Alan asked if it can be scaled down. Absolutely, to a point. Like, I mean, you can't make it, like 80 millimeter by 80 millimeter.
Yeah, I think technically all those parts would still work for a printer, down to like 250 by 250 or 300 by 300. Because but the thing is, it's going to be overkill because the parts are scaled to that size of extrusion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not really, I mean, of all the things that I've ever built in my life, this is probably the least overbuilt. Like, it's kind of built where it needs to be.
Right.
I think the big factor is going to be like the size of the hot end, because you need it to be able to reach everything. I mean, I guess technically you could scale it down to have the bed be 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter, but the frame is still going to be big.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't make sense. At some point, it's not going to make sense, but like a 300 by 300, 250 by 250 would be absolutely doable. It's also scalable to the point where you could say, make it a 300 by 300 and make it really infinitely tall. All right, not infinitely. But I mean, yeah, you could do like 1,000 millimeter tall if that's what you wanted to do. And where this does not have a moving bed, thanks to James, it is it's quite prime for that. I built it the size that I built it, knowing that I had to get it in and out of my house. I mean, I wanted it to be huge, and it had to be a little bit bigger than the G-Max Big.
Well, I don't know if we're going to have enough time to get to. I was hoping to get it to layer 5, because layer 5 is when we're going to start getting infill, and it's going to, pick up speed a little bit. But I don't think we're going to have enough time for it to get to there. We're just finishing up layer 3.
Yeah, you got about 17 minutes. Yeah, I'd actually like to build a second FK1, but build it like in a more normal size.
Do you remember I designed? Part of my problem too is I come up with tons of project ideas and I throw time into design them, and then a lot of them I just never build.
Yeah, you were going to do the FK 0.1.
Yeah, I designed all the parts for it, and I think I printed and did a test build of the XY axis on it. But that was also when I was getting into the realization that 3D printed frames for like fully 3D printed frame printers don't do well with vibrations.
Yeah, they also don't do well if you leave them in the car in the hot sun.
Well, at this point, I'd moved on to PETG for stuff, because I remember Walter 3D printing his clone of the Prusa, and then he did the what was that design that was popular for a long time there? The cube printer?
Oh, the Core XY.
Was his Core XY, or is it? It doesn't matter. He did a cube printer, and it was all printed extrusion. And listen, when they were traveling, he'd have to leave his car running while they ran in to eat quickly, and they'd have to make sure they sat where they could see the vehicle.
Yeah.
because they didn't want to risk it getting warm enough to warp the frame. I designed that. Remember the Print N Print, that 3D printed frame one with the 3D printed box underneath.
Yep.
It printed relatively well, but I used PLA because it was stiffer. But the problem is PLA deforms with pressure over time.
Right.
So time I'd pull it out, it would need a full tune-up because things would shifted around. And then finally, the last time I couldn't get it working right, and I said, you know what? It's like I only ever pull it out to bring it to printing conventions, and it never does anything useful. So
Mike got it. Hypercube.
Hypercube. That was the printer design I was thinking of.
Yep. Yep. Well, I mean, I would like this printer to see at least one more trade show, but it's a huge huge production to move that thing.
I bet.
Here locally, well, and when the truck is done, it should get a lot better fuel mileage now than it did before. But locally, like taking it to Orlando Maker Faire wasn't bad. The one year I took it in the back of the truck, and then Uncle Ron and Happy Ron and all them helped me unload it. But otherwise, like taking it to Murph, I don't think it's never been to IRF. It's only been to Murph. It had to go in a U-Haul trailer. It had to go in an enclosed trailer so that it didn't get rained on.
I remember you bringing in the base for my 3D printed arcade cabinet the one year because we were at. Remember, I set it up at
Murph.
Well, no, before Murph, we went to. Wow, why am I drawing a blank on the company's name right now? The filament company.
E3D.
No, not E3D.
Oh, no, IC3D.
IC3D. E3D was what was stuck in my head too, and I'm like, that's not the right name.
That would have been a much longer drive.
Yeah, remember I was loading up, and I was like, I just gotta flip it, and you're like, why don't we just stick it? Oh no, it was the whole cabinet, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I had all that space in the trailer.
Yeah, and then you got me my table for me the next morning.
Yeah, when I wasn't supposed to be.
Well, it wasn't supposed to be there. You snuck in.
I didn't sneak in. I walked up to the door. It was locked. I went to walk away. A lady came to the door and she opened it, and I said, "Can we get in?" And she's like, "Sure, come on in." And then so we went and picked tables. And then Walter comes in and starts live streaming from his phone. And then that's when the crap hit the fan. Yeah.
Good time.
I saw the FK1 at Murph 2019. It's pretty much the only place it's ever been seen. It has been to Orlando Maker Faire twice. It made its debut at Orlando Maker Faire. But it's been there twice and Murph once. It didn't go to IRF because IRF, I didn't exhibit as Fun King that year. I exhibited as one of the trio of Fun in the Country Basement, which that was really fun because I didn't have to be anywhere. I could just walk around and look at stuff if I wanted to.
It was really fun because it was before I was on the show.
What's that?
That was really fun because it was before I was on the show.
Right. I didn't have to keep answering questions about the foul-mouthed Canadian that I stream with.
Who is that guy?
Why do you stream with that guy?
Oh, Canada. All your stream money belongs to the Canadian government now.
That's right. I don't know. Can you get a copyright strike for?
I don't think so. Anthems? But we'll find out.
Well, I guess so. Yeah. It's all Sergio's money that he gave me will just get sucked up. I don't know. It's going to be a busy year for me, and the real problem is that I still have to work a full-time job. If I didn't have to work a full-time job, then it wouldn't be a problem. But there's now shows on both sides, 3D printing and garage that could end up being a conflict. And so that's why I said I'm going to try to do Murph and Earth this year, and then it'll probably be the last ones. I just need more time off. Like, you know, unfortunately, I don't get 35 weeks of vacation a year. Or 52 would be nice.
Knowing that this is potentially me asking a loaded question, what's the new regime in Ottawa, Mike?
Oh. Ottawa's run by truck drivers now, isn't it?
We don't talk about Bruno.
Politics are fun to talk about when it's in other countries.
Did you watch Encanto?
No.
Wasn't sure if your kids were into the Disney stuff.
Yeah, Grisilla watched it. Zach watched it. I think Xander ended up, I don't know if he made it all the way through it, but he watched it. I have a hard time sitting through movies. I can't sit still that long. Encanto, he hated it. But in fairness, he also said the new Ghostbusters was poop too.
Oh, wow.
But you know, I think the new Ghostbusters, and I'm not going to do any spoilers, so don't worry if you haven't seen it. If you're from a day and age of the original Ghostbusters, you're going to like it. If you're a day and age later than the original Ghostbusters, you may not like it.
If you didn't like the original Ghostbusters, you're not going to like this one.
Right. I don't want to give anything away.
I will say that I loved this one. I didn't like it as much as the first one, but I liked it better than the second one, I think.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that Grisilla and I decided was that we like the fact that they kind of kept the effects.
Well, okay, I thought that's where you were going with it too. The sound effects and special effects feel like they were lifted right out of the original movie, and they haven't tried to do much to make them, like, they've kept the continuity of it. They haven't made things look fancier just because they can. Maybe some of the stuff's like a little more refined, but they didn't try to reinvent the wheel with it.
No, it's almost like they took the CGI from the first one and just reused it. It was brilliant.
But they made it nice and clear, so it's like they remastered the special effects. So
yeah. Well, and then if you've seen the trailer, the Stay Puft Marshmallow was the delight of the whole entire movie.
Yes, they're adorable. Also, I think in the trailer they show at least one of the terror dogs, and I like the fact that the terror dogs also looked the same, but they lost the choppiness of the stop animation they used to do in the original ones.
Yeah.
So it's like very clearly the same creature. They haven't tried to make them look worse or better or anything like that. They just went, now since it's CGI, it can actually be a full 60 frames a second instead of 5 or 6 frames a second.
It looks like Sergio's getting kicked off. He said, "Hey everyone, kickoff coming up. See you all in the next." I wasn't going to boot him, but if that's what he wants. Thanks for being here, Sergio, and thanks for the dollarinos.
So Ghostbusters Afterlife has officially beaten the 2016 Ghostbusters domestically for money. And it also cost like less than half or about half the amount to make it. So I would imagine Sony's probably going to do sequels.
That's awesome.
Well, I would imagine when you make money on a movie during a pandemic, and like when I say during a pandemic, for a good chunk of the time that it's been in theaters, the Ontario government shut down all the theaters here. Right? So lost some revenue there.
Yeah, well, and then like I always like when you watch a movie and you're like, oh, that's so and so from this show, and I don't even want to get into that, but there's so many of the actors in this that are from other things. That
Well,
like it was
there's Finn Finn Wolf something,
Stranger
the
Things.
brother, and he's from Stranger Things.
Right.
The girl that plays Phoebe, the main female lead,
Uh-huh.
she was on Fuller House.
She's also the arch nemesis on Sheldon.
I haven't actually watched Sheldon.
Okay, but you know the show, right?
Yeah.
It's Sheldon Cooper from Big Bang Theory when he's a child.
So I'm assuming she's the other smart kid in the class then?
Yeah, she like comes and goes throughout the series.
Yeah.
She's not always there, but she's like his nemesis.
Yep.
So, yeah, that was fun because it took me a minute to realize that that's who it was because they make her look like such a kid on Sheldon and she really isn't a kid. And then her hair was completely different in Ghostbusters.
And I also thought her deadpan delivery of jokes was just spot on for who she was trying to emulate.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah.
I thought they leaned maybe a little too hard into nostalgia. Like a lot of the references I thought were necessary, but like I groaned a little at the point when she finds the Twinkie wrapper.
Easy.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying when or where. Just I believe maybe that was also in the. But yeah, there's a part where there's a Twinkie wrapper, and I'm like, they made a joke about a Twinkie in the first one. It's not like the characters or any of them are known for like eating Twinkies all the time, but
right. Well, and then the actor that played Dan Aykroyd, poof, spot on. Who? One of the cops, one of the deputies. That's Dan Aykroyd's daughter.
No, she's Jason Reitman's sister. She's she's Ivan Reitman's daughter and Jason Reitman's sister. I think, unless they're both. Like maybe both are true.
I don't know. I looked it up on IMDb because, like, in the credits, I can't remember her first name, but it came up as an Aykroyd, and so I pulled it up on IMDb.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm misremembering the article I read.
Maybe it's a different cop. I mean, there was more than one.
Let me see. I have this device that's connected to the internet.
Yeah, them were always like clicking on stuff.
Oh, it's 6:30, and we made it a couple of layers above the fourth layer there.
But I will say, if you haven't seen the new Ghostbusters, go check it out. It was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, even my dad, who hasn't been a fan of any of the new stuff that's come out, he enjoyed the movie.
And then when it gets older, I want to have this discussion again, like, in the future when everybody's already seen it and we can actually talk about it.
Yeah, we'll give it another month or two, and then, we'll say, okay, warning, spoilers, we're going to be discussing it.
Yeah, because there was a couple of observations that I made through the movie. And I guess one of them's not really a spoiler, but these people had no problem, like, going down, like, creepy dark holes and stuff.
Yeah, you know what? Stella Aykroyd.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the, okay, so let me see if there's more than one Reitman in it. Nope, I must have gotten the story wrong. There is one big hole in the story that I won't get into anything with spoilers other than to say it's a reference to a Starbucks that creates an issue.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah, I picked that up the very first watch. I was like, wait a second.
It was a hole with the after credit, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. That goes her, I'll tell you. Well, you got anything you want to plug?
What is that?
You got anything you want to plug?
Well, I had a new video come out today on the Retro channel, Print and Play Retrospective. I'll just link the video quick in chat just in case anybody didn't get the reference for it. Or the
Yep, absolutely, you should. Let me. I'm pretty sure that I have that. I think I have a link to that channel. James's channel, Patreon, Twitter, merch. Nope. I've never added your other channel to the chat or to the description. So I'll have to do that. You guys support James. Go buy some of his merch.
I don't have a ton in the way of merch.
Go and buy one of James's t-shirts and then rob a bank, making sure that the news gets video footage of you wearing that shirt while robbing the bank.
But like only if you're in the States so that they don't think it's me.
Well, and once again, if all goes according to plan, I'm looking for a launch this Friday for the first episode of the Funmans Project on youtube.com/FunKingGarage. If you're into automotive or fabrication or just the possibility of me chucking a wrench and saying a swear word, hop on over there to youtube.com/FunKingGarage. Or just go to funkinggarage.com and it'll link you over where you need to go. I haven't picked a time yet. I'm probably going to go for like a mid-morning launch. So the reason I picked Friday was because I figured if it's people like me who pretty much have YouTube running all day, every day, they'll be able to watch it when it comes out. If not, it'll be kind of fresh for the weekend. That was my thought anyway. So we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, I got nothing.
That's it for me for this week too. I'm hoping. I got sick again this week. Ended up with an infection, so I'm going through more antibiotics and stuff. But I'm hoping after this week I'll be back on my feet. And I've got a video I've got a project that I've been working hard on for a video, and I want to get it done.
Understandable. So, and remember, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, the PSA of today is don't run a drill bit into your hand. Vices, you can buy a cheap bench vise or use a big pair of pliers, but don't hold things in your hand when you're drilling, and definitely don't ever drill towards yourself. You're just asking for it. And when it comes to cutting things, cut towards your buddy and not your body.
You think drilling into things would be scary, but actually it's just kind of boring.
It is very boring. It just bored right in there. Thank you to each and every one of you for showing up and hanging out with us on this Big Game Sunday. It was about half the crowd that's typically here, but it was still really good quality people, and that's what
I'm glad that we did it.
I'm glad that we did it too, because I did have a little bit of reservation. I'm like, oh, is it even going to be worth it? Yeah. But it's all good, and we appreciate each and every one of you for being here. We love you all. Please be safe, and until next time, as always,
Print on.